Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, today. Today we have Leon and few other guests from the Profit Makers and Dumb Money channels. We're here to discuss about crypto. What has happened the last few hours in crypto? So let's dive into it. Hey, Leon, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, dude? Yeah, so a big 17% drop on the daily chart. So as everyone who's following the Bitcoin price and the other cryptos, we've been going up for the last several weeks, and we broke we broke the all-time high on different exchanges, right? Because it's very and there's so many exchanges for Bitcoin, but basically 19,000 plus. So if any of you guys remember 2017, 2018, that's when Bitcoin hit its, not it didn't even hit 20K, but it hit 19.9 or 19.8. So we're back to the all-time high in Bitcoin. And so a lot of us crypto veterans, we expected a pullback. We expected some kind of correction. But what came out was some news that some regulations coming in regards to the CFC regulating crypto leverage. Let me find that article real quick. Where did I put it?
So let me dive into that actually because this is a very interesting discussion because I have tried to look for articles around this and it's very rare that you'll find an article because it's a thought process pretty much. So here's the three areas I feel that has caused the crypto pullback. Okay, number one is there's a little bit of excessive leverage going on in the markets, in the crypto markets. Now, is excessive leverage good or bad? We're not judges of that. But when I say excessive leverage, means Coinbase announced that because of these guidelines, they're going to cut off on excessive leverage choices that retailers have in this space. Guess what happens when you cut off excessive leverage choices? People want to pull out of those products because they don't have excessive leverage to go ahead and make a fortune out of it. So one of the factors I think is an excessive leverage. The other factor is is that there is a little bit of a technical pullback. Okay. And Leon, maybe we can talk more about the technical pullback, but I feel that, and I come from an option stock environment, so I'm going to just share my thoughts, is that if a company is truly bullish in the stock or options environment, if they don't have a small consolidation, which is what I refer to as a technical pullback, it's really not a healthy company, right? You got to have that technical pullback to make it a healthy bull run in the long term. So that is the second aspect of it. And then the third aspect is the amplification of the sell-off, right? We have now institutions that are involved, right? So there are a couple of factors involved in this amplification. One is the big whales either start selling their coins on certain news, and whales defined as the big players in this space. And secondly, what we're seeing is that a massive amount of folks are moving from their hard wallets into the exchange, which can cause a little bit of a dip as well. So that is the amplification of the crypto coins moving around that can cause this price impact. So those, I'm just bucketizing it into those three categories. So let's dive into the first one, right? Which is the leverage, Leon. What are
Yeah,
your
yeah,
thoughts on that?
exactly. Yeah. So let me talk about that. So it was reported on Coinbase disabling margin, but honestly, it's only the institutional players on Coinbase that have access to that margin. So those big guys, right? They have much bigger accounts than the retail people. But not just that, but that regulation is going to spread to other countries, right? So the most leverage trading takes place on like BitMEX, which is in Europe, and Bitfinex, which is in Canada, and then you have 100 different Chinese exchanges, right, with their own crazy leverage, and they do like 100. I've seen 500x leverage, and the crypto traders love volatility. And they take the most risks. So these guys trade with those crazy leverages of 100x or more. So when you remove that, I mean, you have to decouple your position. So that news, on the top of the fact that like we're overstretched in the technicals. And I expected a 10% pullback, but because of that news, and then ARK, I think, said that they're selling some GBTC because a lot of buying was rampant on GBTC the past few months. That it just fueled the fire, and now we have a 17% pullback. But now it's not so bad. So if I share, this, so let me take this out real quick. So this is the Bitcoin daily chart, right? So let me just pull, like, you can kind of see the volatility in this chart just without even knowing any technical analysis, right? So, and this is the 2017 bull run, which we are in a new crypto bull run, by the way. So and this is normal for pullbacks to happen, very drastic pullbacks. And one reason is because we have like 10, 20 million people trading these crypto assets, right? While you have like 100 million or so in the general stock markets. So as we can see, like these pullbacks are expected. So here, this was the COVID drop, and then we had this breakout, and then we had the kind of the BART pattern happen, and then we had this breakout since October. So this is several weeks of just upside going up, and now this trend got broken. But it helps to understand how to read charts, because if you just look at the price, you see one day it's 19,000, the next day you see, oh my God, we hit 16,000. But you're not seeing the full picture of like understanding what the market structure looks like. So see, the height of this drop was 16%, but where we actually end up right now, because is 14%. So we've come back 2% already. And look at these green candles. You get 11% gain on this day. You get another 11.65% gain on this day. On these 2 days right here, 12%. So like you need a healthy pullback to happen. Like you can't get a healthy pullback means something like, if I put in the fib retracement, and I will go from this breakout and go to the top of here, the golden ratio is the 0.618 to 0.65. So as long as a pullback happens above that, that's a pretty healthy pullback. A pullback that gets to the golden ratio is a drastic pullback, but and a pullback below that will be kind of like, that's a little bit more worrisome. So we just got back to the 0.38 level. And again, if we zoom in to the 1 hour to kind of see a little bit more data, like this constant non-stop upwards movement, right? And we needed something to kind of take the pressure off this. And yeah, we broke down, and now it's kind of like consolidating in this little area. And on the hourly chart, we're already at the bottom of the RSI, so we're at oversold conditions. So this is a good area that people are starting to come back in. But yeah, so that's a look at the technicals, and this is going to happen in crypto like for the next couple years, but that's going to change over time as the entire cryptocurrency space gets larger. When you start adding more millions and millions of investors, it takes a lot more money to move the markets. And as you can, if we go back all throughout Bitcoin time, so if I go to Brave, let's see here, Brave Liquid Index. So this is Bitcoin's entire history, but only on the daily chart. I just marked like good pickup zones. Like we can see here, like volatility was more crazy earlier in Bitcoin's life. but it's starting to get more stable because we're having a more mature market, more investors coming in, and eventually, in my opinion, the entire cryptocurrency space is going to contain more value than the stock market because it's not just Bitcoin, right? You have Ethereum, you have all these protocols, and on those protocols, you're going to have other crypto assets built on top of it. So here's something that people don't think about. I think in the next couple decades, 1 to 2 decades, there's going to be more value in virtual property than in real property. And what I mean by that is you, there's no need for space to scale in that arena, right? So you're going to have more money in virtual worlds, and that's not just real estate in the virtual worlds, but like the non-fungible items, and those can be generated and traded and whatnot. So you have Bitcoin along with these other assets, making this market mature even more, which is just going to continue to grow the space.
Interesting.
So yeah.
So
So
it's really difficult to kind of digest what you're saying in the context of virtual space for a lot of people.
yeah, yeah.
Because people are not sitting in the virtual environment today, so they kind of still are kind of skeptical about Bitcoin. But this also reminds me of the forex days, right? When
Hmm.
back in the day, forex was kind of there. It was not too liquid. It was doing the same type of volatility, impacts on those currencies back in the day. But let me ask a question there, Leon. Like, you
Yeah.
see, yeah, I'm a long-term holder of Bitcoin.
Hmm.
I don't like to trade it in or out. But is this something someone could have swing traded, or what are your thoughts
That's
around that?
yeah, yeah. So I used to day trade Bitcoin for years, but now I only multi-year swing trade. So that is
Okay.
my strategy, right? So uh, because the crypto markets are very nascent still, and because you have not as many investors in it as the stock market, these cycles come and go with a kind of regularity, or these cycles are kind of they match up with the Bitcoin halving cycle. So you have like a 2 year bull market followed by a 2 year bear market, like roughly, and that cycle gets longer each time. So that's exactly what I'm doing. So if I show the chart here, we had this sell off, and I bought here, and I bought a little bit along the way up, but I bought mostly here. And then where is March? Yeah, we had this March drop, right? I actually took out a loan. I took out. By the way, this is not financial advice. We're not financial advisors. This is
Mhm.
what I did personally, because I understand the Bitcoin market cycles, and I've already paid back that loan. So I'm adding to my position right now because we're just at the start of another 12 to 18, possibly 24-month bull market in crypto. And again, that might get longer because now you have bigger players, more money in it. I mean, eventually trillions and trillions of dollars are coming into this. Um, and yeah, and then so what I intend on swinging this. And there's a couple of indicators I use, and I will quickly bring those up. So it's not RSI. I'll just show the two indicators I'm going to use. That's the NVT signal. It shows what, like kind of tops, especially when this starts to turn white. And this is basically net value transfer. So it's the amount of bitcoins that are getting transferred on the blockchain. So this is a new kind of metric that like you would never had access to before. You can actually see how many coins are moving that have not moved in a very long time. I also use a Mayer multiple to help me pick the next market top or top area. You're not going to get the top exactly. Um, and the Mayer multiple is really good at helping me figure out tops.
So this top hasn't been signaled yet, right? If you fast
No,
forward,
not yet. No,
not
no.
yet.
Yeah, this is just a normal tiny little.
On a bigger picture, this thing is like a small drop in the bigger picture. You can even see that red candle doesn't even stand out. Uh, this bigger
Y-
picture, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, exactly, right. You have like this, uh, like here, like this was like a little rise up, and then more volume here as people are buying. Like this is still super early, guys. This is like you where we are right now. Here, let me undo all this. In the cycle, in my opinion, we are kind of like somewhere here.
Okay. Yeah.
And okay, somebody's coming in. But
So
yeah,
when we
this is where
make
we
it to
are.
that, when we make it to that orange tops, right? Like we're at the peak of the mountains, it
Yeah.
probably makes sense to go ahead and it makes sense to like maybe take some profits at that time, maybe a little bit,
I
and then rebuy in something like that.
exact Yeah, yeah, yeah. My personal strategy, this is just me. I'm selling every single crypto I have except for possibly one Bitcoin.
Okay.
But I'm selling everything. I sold everything in 2018 too. So where I sold in 2018, I'll show you guys. So I wrote it all the way to the top, right? And then we had this, um, and then we had this bull trap that happened.
Yeah.
But I wanted more confirmation. So there's a bull trap here. So I sold around this area because as a parabolic move, there's going to be pullbacks. But when do you know that the end is over? So not only do I wait for a lower high, I want more confirmation that this is over. So I left out some profits, but that gave me more confirmation, more confidence in exiting in this area. So I sold all my bitcoins, all my altcoins. I had a portfolio of 20 coins at the time. Um, and then I rode this entire bear market out. So this is from February of 2018, and it broke down November 18th. After this broke down, that's when I started buying in heavy again. So let me, if I can, I bought all through this area. So let me mark this red. Actually, that would probably make better sense. There we go. So I sold there and I bought back in after this because why did I buy back in here? Because this I trade triangles on the technicals. That's my favorite technical indicator. I don't do Elliott. I mean, I do Elliott waves, but I don't trade Elliott waves. This was like clear gigantic descending triangle, right? So
Yeah.
what are the rules of a giant of a triangle? It's the move is the height of the triangle. Oh shoot! Let me go to the auto. Here we go. So if I move this down, so it didn't break down the full height of the triangle, but that this is your window of our opportunity. And not only that, there was a lot of there's a civil war in Bitcoin Cash at the time, so
Yeah.
a lot of miners were selling Bitcoin to fund the war against each other. So another tangent to the Bitcoin civil war, like in 2017 August, there was a war between the small blockers and the big blockers on how to scale Bitcoin. Now the small blockers won, so those guys, hey, let's keep the blockchain the block small, 1 megabyte, so everyone can run a node. The big blockers were like, no, let's make it bigger so we can use Bitcoin as cash and scale bigger and stuff like that. But the general population of Bitcoiners chose the small block narrative. Um, so that was like the first split, right? You can kind of think of that as like I don't know, a tiny sect of Christianity splitting off from the major Christianity, right? And then here you have like a split of an ISIS split down here with Bitcoin Cash as the more radical split off. But anyways, a little tangent over. But
No,
that added to the thing, right? And then what happened here? That's another triangle forming. So you had a ascending triangle here, and that's going to break out. This broke out even more, right? So you had oversold conditions. Now people are buying back in, and now it breaks out massively. And then the same thing with release, bull trap, and then you have a declining and accumulation. And this was unnatural because this is a black swan COVID event. But yeah, that's where we are now. Any
yeah,
questions from anyone here?
yeah, no, definitely. Did you have any questions, Sundar?
Yeah, so you refer to the Saturday event, right? Are you referring to the same one Leon posted on the Discord group, like the coin market cap? I'm sorry, the Coinbase start for that margin funding, right? Margin
Yes,
trading.
yes. Yeah. We were just saying that that could be a catalyst of the consolidation that we're seeing right now, or the small decline we're seeing right now, relative to the bigger picture.
Right.
Is when Coinbase decides not to allow people to leverage, guess what happens? There is volume declines. There's a little bit of movement of funds, so that is definitely expected, to create a little bit of turbulence in the market. It's pretty fair to say that, it's like, and I'm in the option space, right? If someone told you that, we're going to kill the options leverage market and you can just buy stocks, guess what happens? People pull out. People don't just stay there. They're going to say, oh, no, no more stock. We don't want to trade the stocks. We want the leverage, the options leverage that we get, in the option space. That's why we're here. We're not here to just make chump change kind of thing, right? So
Hey,
that
hey
is
Mitt,
one kind of, yeah.
people are asking for the password still.
There is no password.
Should not be any password. We just went over Bitcoin technical analysis. Yeah, sure. It should not be any password. I'll link again. Zoom.us/my/profit.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, we had a few people just join, while we were talking, so they entered without a password. So it's pretty.
Yeah.
Um, uh, did we answer, Sundar, your question? What was your other part to the question?
Like Coinbase is just one major broker in US, right? So why that it impacts so much? Because we have so many Asian people also, right? So Asian countries also holding a major portion of cryptocurrencies, right?
So that's why I say there are three factors, right? To this thing, right? And when I say that Coinbase, is one of the factors, it doesn't mean it's the sole factor. Now, based on my knowledge in the stock option space, right? When you share some CFTC news that, look, we're going to stop letting people do leverage in the US, and that type of effort, right? When you do that, guess what happens, right? People create a little bit of sell-off, and then there's a little bit of a momentum downwards too, right? We're not just dealing with folks that are just saying that, okay, I'm selling off just because of Coinbase. When you see crypto drop 1,000 points, yeah, people say, hey, look, I want to secure my profit, so they jump out of it as well. So I call that like an emotional, momentum downwards a little bit. And if that's not happening, the market is not really treating them fair, right? It's
Yeah,
not that should happen. It's natural for it to happen, right? So
and also U.S. regulation permeates the world, right? Eventually, it's going to get to your country. So
yeah.
some people could just be front running, and they're in heavy, like I said, 100x positions.
Mhm.
So, like like you want to wait for the UK to tell you can't do that, just get out of your position now, right? Um, and also again, it was overstretched to the technicals. That's why it's so important to understand technical analysis to read a chart. And I know the dumb money guys, they don't use technical analysis, but if you just look at just a static price, you see one day it's 19,000. You see the next day it's 16,600. You're like, whoa, the world's ending. But if you have no, you got to go look at the bigger picture, like see what is going on in the structure of things. Like we needed a pullback. Like this, like how our stock works, guys. It's not like where is my drawing tool here? People will say, "Oh, stocks only go up," which is a meme, right? But they do this is healthy. That's a healthy move, right? Now in crypto, everything is 10x exaggerated, right? So you know, 2% down in the stock market. People are like, oh my goodness, World War III is going on, right? Like in crypto, like we're 5%. It's like, well, what? Like, why even bothering me with that news? You know. So you have to take that into account, the size of the market and the size of the participants, right? And guys, like, I've seen way worse moves than this. So for me, like I'm buying thousands of more dollars with the Bitcoin, I'm moving money right now, to pick up some more. Oh, now we're getting people to come in. Here we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yep.
Why we need to start investing in crypto? What's missing in stock market?
Nothing's missing
Why?
in the stock market. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I
let me
mean, as a
answer
new
this.
investor, as I've been investing in
Yeah.
stocks and bonds and mutual funds, I moved from mutual funds and bonds to my money in stocks, which I've been doing for 5 years, 6 years or so now. Bitcoin looks very attractive and everything. I'm reading more and more, you know.
Okay.
But
I
why should I move? Why should I think about, you know, doing cryptocurrency?
Exactly. Great, excellent question, right? So this is a question coming from the seasoned investor, right? You have this new asset class called cryptocurrencies. Like, why should I invest? So, excuse me. In my first sentence, I just answered your question. This is a new asset class. So asset classes don't come around every decade. They come around every few centuries. So not only is it a new asset class, this is an asset class that has potential to capture more value than all other asset classes combined. Potentially real estate could compete, but then again, like I said, they're like with cryptocurrencies, you're going to have more value captured in virtual real estate in the future. So this is a digital world that we lived in, right? So you think of the internet, its invention, and how the pre-internet, post-internet, right? Our world could not function without the internet, and that was the decentralization of information. You have pre-blockchain, pre-Bitcoin, and post-blockchain, post-Bitcoin, and then now a multitude of other decentralized protocols and investable protocols. That is the decentralization of finance and money and value. And in my opinion, that is going to radically transform our entire world in a much drastic way than just the decentralization of information. And we can't even, like, I can't even think of what's coming next, but it's going to be drastic over the next decade or so, right? And another thing is you have the cryptocurrencies that's 360 billion, right? Let's see what it is right now. Coin market cap. In the entire space, okay, I said it was 350 billion. That was the other day. It's 487 billion, 86 billion. Bitcoin itself is eventually going to replace gold. Gold is $9 to $10 trillion, and Bitcoin is going to replace it because it's a generational investing store value narrative that is going to replace gold. That's 10 trillion just in Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin is about 50% of, roughly 50% of the market at the moment. And over time, it's going to lose value, right? Because you're going to have more coins and more protocols, and you're going to have non-fungible tokens and stuff like that built onto all these different smart contract platforms. So and over time, and guys, like virtual real estate, in my opinion, and this is a prediction and an idea, but I think virtual items and virtual real estate is going to contain more value than physical items and physical real estate because there is no limit on area. You could scale not infinitely, but you could scale like drastically, right, in the virtual space.
So
and that is, yeah.
I was going to say that I have a hard time understand virtual real estate. It was very tough to understand it. And maybe an example I can give in that environment is actually with the current structure that's going on. Is a use case of the vaccinations, right? Like the COVID vaccinations that are going to be distributed. There are discussions about using the blockchain network to create the distribution of it and keep a track of the logistics, right?
Oh yeah. I'll touch on this and then get back to the original question. So yeah, like with blockchain, there's so many different use cases for it, right? Because you have a way to trust data without having to trust people. That's the whole thing with blockchains. Like Bitcoin, you have trusted it because you don't have to trust a third party, a bank, a government. You just trust the protocol because it's code and because it's verified with all these nodes around the world. Now get back to the other question. Why should I invest in cryptocurrencies? Well, you have asymmetrical upside that we haven't seen in human history. And sorry to be hyperbolic, but that is like straight up. Like this is for like not even $1 trillion in cryptocurrency. It got up to 800 billion in 2018, and this is going to be multi-trillions in the future. So now there's thousands of cryptocurrencies, right? Which one do I pick? Well, that's a hard and easy question. The easy question is you go with the cryptocurrency reserve asset, which is Bitcoin. All these international exchanges use Bitcoin to trade and buy other coins. And Bitcoin is being the hardest form of and soundest form of money, meaning you cannot inflate the supply like you can with US dollars, which makes it soft, easy money, right? So as the Fed continues to print money, by the way, every single fiat currency has collapsed in history. None has ever made it, right? And the strongest ones last 100 years. And even gold, there's unlimited, like, well, there's a finite supply, but there's so much gold in the ground, and there's gold in asteroids, and we have no idea how much gold is truly involved, and you have so much fake gold. With Bitcoin, every Bitcoin is accounted for on this public open digital ledger that everyone can see. So it's just a matter of time before Bitcoin supplants gold, and that alone, just that alone, you should like, in my opinion, everyone should have like a 1%, 0.5% stake in Bitcoin. I have like over 60% in Bitcoin, but that's because I understand it so deeply. But that's just one use case. Like, there are use cases we can't even fathom right now. That's going to be, is whether it's Ethereum or Polkadot or another generation protocol comes along. But everything's going to be tokenized. Like, imagine your house and you could sell a fraction of that on a market, or a piece of art, or like, personal tokens and micro lending and all these kind of other like applications. It's just endless.
Really,
but yeah,
now that you say that, I'm actually going to tell folks here who are on with us, on December 12th, Profit Makers will be hosting one of the crypto inventors. So it'll be a good time to dive into the use cases with him, because the guest speaker we're going to have has built crypto not to just trade crypto as a currency, but to go ahead and put use cases around it and put applications in that space, kind of thing, practical applications. And he's actually got several projects in the pipeline where he's using them practically to change how we do things in the real world, not just the virtual world, right? Because at the end of the day, both the real world and the virtual world is connected. The real world is creating the virtual world, right? So if creating the virtual world, you want to have a sense of transactional governance, a transactional validation. And I come from an accounting finance background, so I see value in automated reconciliation right there. Like, everything is reconciled through the ledger process, and it just can't get any better than have a 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional reconciliation ledger in front of you that's doing its job. It's reconciling everything for you in a decentralized fashion. In basic accounting and finance, if you're to reconcile, you can create anomaly situations where you could reconcile something that is not even reconcilable But in this space, it's all validated like 3, 4 different ways. So it just can't, it's hard to prove that, it's a wrong reconciliation at that point in this process. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We had a few new people just join us, so don't worry, guys. This video is getting recorded and will get uploaded. Just to rehash what we've gone over, we went over the recent crypto drop, why it's not something I'm worried about. In fact, I'm buying much more today. And we went over Bitcoin technical analysis. And then we answered the question of why invest in Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. And basically, it's asymmetric upside that we've never seen before.
Does anyone have questions?
I do.
Let's answer questions. Go ahead.
Hey guys, how are you? How's it going?
Good,
Hey, George.
So I've been trading cryptocurrency ever since 2017. I fell in love with it, just for the people who are crypto skeptical about it. I mainly have coins in altcoins such as Ripple, Cardano, Litecoin, and Ethereum. What I love about it is I'm from the Upper East Side of the country, so in New York. I already see certain places having cryptocurrency ATMs as well. What I read on the news, especially I'm heavily into Ripple, about the certain aspects that Ripple has, such as like getting incorporated with MoneyGram and PayPal, whatnot. So my question is, do you think that the altcoins will serve as more of a stock like we do in the stock market per se?
Let me take a
Yes.
stab at that a little differently, because and then Leon can jump in there and give his pointers, right? We are not big fans of altcoins, and primarily because there's several out there, and they could serve different purpose. The question is the visibility, right? Bitcoin has the ultimate visibility. Without Bitcoin, you can't even trade the altcoins, actually. So if you're like looking for store of value, we're looking at just Bitcoin serving us well because it's the ultimate store of value in that space. Now, when you talk about Ripple, like we are not big fans of Ripple because it's really not solving the puzzle. Okay, the reason why we say it's not solving the puzzle is because Ripple actually is not it's not decentralized like a crypto coin should be, right? When you centralize the power, okay, you diminish its value, in my opinion, and you're going back to the US dollar. So what you're doing here in a Ripple coin is you're saying that I'm sorry to put it pretty blunt here, like Ripple is kind of like, hey look, dollar holds like is like literally giving a tap on the shoulder to the US dollar first and saying, hey, US dollar, you're the strongest one out there. You stay dominant and we're going to ride with you in the US dollar space. So that is one way of looking at it. And then decentralized is saying that, hey, look, we want to be different than the US dollar. We don't want anything backed to the US dollar or the US dollar movement. So maybe you will see big upticks in the altcoins because it is normal. It is very normal when Bitcoin makes its headwind. A lot of folks get introduced to altcoins, different altcoins, and there's a movement of assets moving from Bitcoin to altcoins to a certain degree, and they call it the altcoin season has arrived. They call it the altcoin season has arrived. Why do they call it altcoin season has arrived? Because now there's a lot of value in Bitcoin, and now they're wanting to diversify with altcoins. But it is important to know what is your purpose in the altcoins. Do you want to stay decentralized? Do you want to stay centralized? If you want to say centralized, you're pegging it to the dollar, pretty much, US dollar. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'll add to that. Great points, Mitt. Now, if you just look at these things as tradable assets, yes, you can make money in the altcoin space by again, you have to get good at seeing the first. You want to see the inflows in the Bitcoin, and then you see Bitcoin kind of go sideways, and the value kind of stabilize there. And then, so guys, like the people who are 100% in altcoins, you basically, when you get written up, it's a Bitcoin whale that's doing that for you guys, because they're going in and they're like speculating on these smaller coins, and then when they exit, the exit can be equally as harsh on the altcoins. So practically in XRP, I think it could get over $1 again in this next crypto boom cycle, because I think Bitcoin is going to 10x from here, and then that value is going to flow down into altcoins. So you can make money in altcoins, but that should be it. You shouldn't be thinking of these altcoins as, oh yeah, this is going to solve so and so. Is it because most of them, 90% are not. They're just speculative assets. So they're tradable assets. The simplest way to ensure that you don't lose a lot of value is you basically invest in the crypto reserve asset, which is Bitcoin. And then who's number two? Well, that's Ethereum. And then once you do understand and you do deeper dive research, you could take smaller bets on the different altcoins. See, in XRP's situation, Ripple, they are selling their technology, which is Ripple X or Ripple Net, whatever it's called, to these banks and whatnot. They're not using XRP on these platforms. And another thing, like the Ripple's company owns 70% of the coins. So, and it's not on widely traded or used mechanism between people or even banks, right? But the reason they did that because they're kind of thinking of themselves as, hey, you have fully decentralized and then you're fully centralized. They're trying to be like this player that's like an evolutionary chain, like a frog with hands or something, like in between this world and this world. I'd rather play in the future world. So that's my 2 cents.
I'd say, Leon, you make a great point, and I was just going to say that Ripple actually is interesting. Like, if you wanted to use just an analogy example of what they are, right? What happened when money transfer never existed? MoneyGram showed up, Western Union showed up, and they kind of created a seamless money transfer process across different boundaries, right? Now think of Ripple as a company that is providing a better solution than what was there before, right? They had MoneyGram and Western Union. Ripple's coming in and say, hey, look, we can do things cheaper at a lower cost in terms of transferring this store of value from country to country, less processing fees, less to deal with banks. So think about it, like Ripple's actually, I'm sorry to say this, it's like a pseudo company offering, in my opinion, because I deal with stocks and options, right? It's like a company that has 70% equity, 30% has been given out to the public. Hey, look, you guys can buy our shares into it, and if we make money along the way doing money transfer, your coin will grow in value. Obviously, we can't say that today, because if it was that, then it would be regulated under the SEC guidelines and all that stuff. But it's kind of, if you think deeply enough, it's like serving the same purpose. They created a company. They wanted investment. They wanted to bypass the federal system, the banking system, because the banking system is very costly. There is a lot of fees associated with trying to transmit money from one spot to another, and they solved it in a cheaper way. So maybe you will see value in the interim with Ripple, because of that. They're providing a better solution to the US dollar movement. But the whole idea of decentralized finance is not solved by Ripple. Ripple is just another company that's trying to solve the money transfer process from one spot to another. They're offering these solutions. And if I recall right, Leon, like MoneyGram actually bought into Ripple, a significant stake in Ripple, so that they can stay ahead of the curve in their money transmitting business. I don't know if it was MoneyGram or
Yeah,
something like that.
so good. Yeah. So guys, let me talk about MoneyGram real quick and Western Union.
Yeah.
Those two companies are going to go the way of Blockbuster. And here's the reason why. I send money overseas. Like it used to be $10, $15. Now it's $5. Like why even pay the $5, right? Why do you even need this company in between when as these currencies grow, you could use Ethereum and you could send something over for a few cents. You know, if it's peak times, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. Or you could send Litecoin or like even Bitcoin now for cents, even though it's so high, like the fees have come down. Now, what's going to happen, people, is you're going to have nation state fiat cryptocurrencies, and these things are going to be the entire infrastructure is getting replaced. We're not going to be using Swift in a decade or two. Things are going to move like so seamlessly. You're going to not need a company do this for you, right? And like you know, someone's auntie in Indonesia or Malaysia, like eventually you got to think of the next generation that's going to come up. Like everyone's right now, they're born they're digital natives. It's like, why are you going to go to a place to get dirty cash? Like cash is not going to exist within 20 years. That's going away. Everything is going to be on your phone and some kind of app, and printed by central banks. So yeah, these companies, I would not. In fact, I would take a multi. I should maybe look at 10-year puts on like MoneyGram or Western Union or something like that. But yeah, they're going to be out of business.
Yeah. Interesting. No, and maybe here's how I look at it, right? Just because they are aware that they could go out of business, they're already investing in the future by getting into the Ripple space and all that, right? So they have to do something to keep up with their trends. Otherwise, they're going to get obsolete. A good analogy I will use is the what do you call it, Kodak company, right? Of the cameras, right? They were so stuck up with their little film camera, you know, production and all that, and the lower end digital cameras, and look at what has happened. Kodak used to be famous back in the day when we had these cameras and all that, and now it's gone. It's obsolete almost. We have digital cameras today that are like Canon and different brands. It's no longer those original brands anymore. Yeah. Any other questions, anyone?
Um, Someone says hi. Oh, Moose says hi. What's up?
Nice, nice.
Why one currency is better than the other currency? I mean, why would you buy Bitcoin over the other one?
Yeah, good. So good question because there are thousands and thousands of coins. Um, so but you want Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the reserve asset. It has the most trust in the cryptocurrency space, and it has the highest security in the cryptocurrency space, and it's the soundest form of money. So again, we have to look at why has gold have value versus like a U.S. dollar, right? The dollar, the Fed can just print trillions of dollars like they've done this year. With gold, you can't do that. It's very hard to get more gold. You have to dig deeper and whatnot, right? And it's a very hard thing to replicate. It's a very durable form of money and recognizable. And Bitcoin has all those characteristics, but exponentially better. So that's why gold, Bitcoin number one. But what else, right? I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. There are Bitcoin maximalists out there. They only buy Bitcoin, and they'll be fine. But in my opinion, there are plays where you can get a better rate of return than Bitcoin on a smaller time frame. So that's why I like Ethereum as a second position in your portfolio. Not as big as Bitcoin, but most other development is happening on Ethereum than all the other platforms, right? No one's building on Cardano. No one's building on Tezos. No one's building on EOS. Everyone's building on Ethereum, and on the DeFi has captured billions and billions of dollars this year in decentralized lending, decentralized loans, and whatnot, and market makers and order books. And it's so much more is going to get built on that space, and Ethereum 2.0 is coming as well. And there's another coin. Yeah, go ahead.
Leon, let's keep it simple, right? To answer that question. if you wanted to get any other crypto coins, altcoins, okay, you have to go through Bitcoin or Ethereum to exchange those today in most of the exchanges out there. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? That tells you that they are the dominants. Like if in the future, if anything were to collapse or anything bad were to happen, right? The whole idea here is that eventually the store of value will be redirected to those two coins because that's the only way they could trade. It's like USD goes to Bitcoin and then or Ethereum, and then you get to buy all these other coins, right? Without going through that channel, you're not making it to the other altcoins, and
Yeah.
it's very tough to get to those. I've actually dealt with like if we like we recently got interested, Leon, in Polkadot, right? It was surprising that how difficult it is to get Polkadot through USD. It's not easy. You have to go in and either trade your Bitcoin for Polkadot, or you have to go in and convert your Ethereum and then buy Polkadot using Ethereum, right? You can't just go USD to Polkadot. There may be few providers out there that let you, but it's not easy to get to the other altcoins. I think that is a
Yeah.
very simple answer to anyone that says that if you have to go through like a foundational crypto coin base, it's Bitcoin and Ethereum that you have to go through. You cannot bypass them today.
Yeah, exactly. Bitcoin is acting already like the digital
Yeah.
currency reserve asset. Now think of Facebook, right? Facebook is the largest digital country in the world, like over 2 billion people. That's bigger than China. And now we have a money that's for the internet, which is Bitcoin. Hey guys, I'll be right back.
Okay. So did anyone have any other questions while Leon's getting back?
Yes, Mitt, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Hey, this is Asen. Thanks for doing this, by the way, on the holiday. I appreciate it. But I did have a question, and options and everything have been going really well for me. And but because I have such a small account, you know, is it worth it for someone with me with a smaller account to put money aside in the Bitcoin, even though it's so high? Like for someone like me, with under like around $6,000 account, $5,000 account. Is it worth it for me to set aside that money into Bitcoin and to maybe get I guess you said 10x, but I've been doing so well with options lately.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see. I know you mentioned 1%, but for me, a 1% that would probably not really amount to much. You know, and I think the other question too I saw on the chat that you're just doing right now is that it costs about 3 to 5K to mine one Bitcoin, whereas the actual price right now is like 16,000. So why wouldn't I then just try to mine it, or is there something more there,
Yeah.
stuff like that?
Okay, so let me begin with the first few answers, and then I'll let Leon take over the last few, which is the mining part.
Perfect.
So I would say that I've met a lot of folks with small accounts sizes, right, in the option space. So now just keep in mind, okay, I do options, right, but I also diversify my holdings. I have real estate, I have options, I have Bitcoin. I've kind of distributed it, right? Now, the way I see Bitcoin in my account, or how I would foresee Bitcoin in a small account, is like a small portion, maybe 1 to 5% of that account value that you're willing to take risk on. I would do that and allocate it to that. Now, there's a big difference between trading options and holding on to Bitcoin, right? It's easy to just hold on to Bitcoin and do nothing, right? And we're looking at maybe 5, 10 years from now. We're not even like looking to liquidate this position. tomorrow or 6 months from now, we're looking to own like for at least another decade, right? Because that's what we've seen history tell us, right? How did the Rockefellers make their money? How did Carnegie Mellon make his money, right? Like these are folks that kind of owned oil assets when it was really dirt cheap, and then it grew in value, and they made their fortune over decades, not overnight within one day or 6 months. Anyone that kind of rotated out of it are not even in the picture anymore today. They're out of the entire horizon of this environment. You have to be an owner long term of that asset. So that means you're really not looking, to answer your question, is you're not really looking for a return tomorrow or next year or two if you wanted to get in a Bitcoin space.
Yeah.
Where I look at it is, if anything were to happen to it a decade from now or something, it may pay for my kids' education or pay for something in the future, pay off an asset or something at that time. But I'm not seeing this like something I will keep trading on or swing trading on like I do in the option space. So you have to decide what is the amount that you can just lock up and forget about.
So
And
it sounds,
and, and a lot of people have the misconception that if it's traded at $16,000, $17,000, that's really expensive price per coin, but you can always get fractional Bitcoins. It's not like you have to buy a coin for $16,000 or $17,000. You can buy a coin that is $100, $500, $1,000 coin, which is going to say it'll be 0.1 something coin, which is fair enough to just put in a store of value kind of thing. That's how I see it. A lot of people like, I wish I had a full coin, right? Okay, yeah, that's a wish, because now it's 16. Like, okay, you're parking $16,000. Is it something you can do? No, not always. So just have to consider that factor in when you're thinking about that. Did I answer that?
yes, yeah, I think for me, and that's what I was kind of thinking, is that the best approach probably is like a dollar cost average in the Bitcoin, like long
Yeah.
term. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually and I'll let Leon speak about the mining thing, but I wish I could mine it for 3 to 5K, but go right ahead, Leon, on that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll go to end on that point. Yeah, like he said, you don't have to buy a full Bitcoin. Like in the next day or two, I'm buying another $1,000 of Bitcoin. That's going to be 0.0607, and I'm fine with that number because it adds up. So yeah, with mining, go Demon Tribe. Uh, Bitcoin, the Bitcoin mining industry is a whole nother mining sector now. So in order to get that kind of price, you have to be at scale. I'm talking about tens of millions of dollars in just the equipment and other like things you have to take care of. There are Chinese miners that are getting free electricity from some of those ghost cities they have out there, and so it's a race on energy right now. I mean, people going to like the Arctic and stuff like that because they're worried about heat as much. So it is at scale for so if you want to get into mining, you could mine Ethereum, but even that you something like to really make it a business. And I'm not talking like you're wasting money to earn some Bitcoin. I mean, you need like thousands and thousands of dollars and like rigs of just GPUs set up. That's a little bit more feasible. But again, like don't even get into that because Ethereum 2.0 is coming with staking. So yeah, it's just a matter of scale. So like I started buying ASICs to mine Decred, right? And Decred, it's not even on the scale of Bitcoin. And I spent like, I don't know, $5,000. It would have been money better spent buying the coin itself. So again, it's you have these giant infrastructures out there that are mining and protecting Bitcoin. So
So
now
let,
back in the day, I was gonna say that like you could have mined Bitcoin on your laptop if you knew about it earlier enough, but that those days are gone.
Yeah, and like even though we say it's 3 to 5K, but you're competing against data centers who are doing it, right? So you have to have a massive data center to fight against them and say that I want the node so that I can collect the reward for that coin, and it's like you're fighting against others to get that reward. It's not like easy because they're solving it faster with their data center throughput power and everything. So I think that space is gone for retailers. Like I feel it has, like people used to have mining rigs back in the day. I remember handling folks taxes when I first saw a mining rig at someone's house. It's like helping them like kind of strategize on their taxes on the income earned and all that. It was pretty interesting what they were doing back in the day, but they're out of business now. All of them actually are out of business at this point because there's no point in even mining at this point.
Cool. So it sounds like, just to sum it all up, like 1 to 5%, like you said, dollar cost average in, hold long term, and within that 1 to 5%, maybe like I was looking at Leon's stuff on the Trading View and some of your videos, and I heard you mention like maybe like an 80-20 ratio between a Bitcoin and Ethereum is a good way to go about
Yeah. For someone who's new to crypto, right, and they don't have the time to dig into the other coins, I recommend that's a good allocation to start with. Like you'll be fine 100% with Bitcoin, but I think in this next run up, Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin just as a ROI, right? Now that's going to cap out after this cycle because there's 100 million coins in Ethereum and there's 18 million coins in Bitcoin. But once you get a little bit more, you start with that 80-20 or 70-30. Well, once you dig into and learn a little bit more about Ethereum, and then you have to do heavy research on these other coins, and there's a specific way to do cryptocurrency analysis, right? It's not like analyzing a company. You have to look at the communities, the trust in it, who's building, development teams, is their code good, who wants this technology. There's so many other factors than just like, okay, how's Tesla doing? It's a bigger question.
it.
Yeah.
Is there any references to material like that you were saying to do the research, the communities and stuff? Is there like a list of those communities or resources that you kind of go to get like viable information? Because I know, like I had looked into it back, like way back, and then I was kind of on the negative side of the whole crypto stuff because like there was the scamming stuff and everything. But I got about probably like $200 in Bitcoin, so it's not a lot. But I was just wanting to see what would be more like credible resources to go to for that.
Yeah, great question. So unfortunately, there's too many places. So one, you can start with Twitter, but you have to go.
Just come to Profit Makers. That's it. Just Profit
Oh
Makers.
yeah, just go to Profit
We're
Makers.
gonna put everything down. So here's the thing. Like there's a flurry of you're welcome to go everywhere. We're not going to deter you from going anywhere. You're welcome to go anywhere you'd like to, right? What we do is at Profit Makers, we have a channel where we are kind of posting articles about different crypto projects or coins that are happening out there. Like we do a little bit of research in depth. Like lately we've been researching Polkadot, right? So we've been diving into that heavily, understanding the structure of it. We even talked to some of the key members of Polkadot and try to understand deep down what they're doing in their projects and their use cases and all that. So we're going to keep a repository in our Discord channel of all of that. And then if there's a coin that interests you're welcome to ask that question there, and we'll give you the credible links that we feel are credible. And we try to, whenever we're trying to research, we go to the core source. Like right now, we are part of. If you were to ask Leon, we're both part of the Polkadot community, like the core community in Discord. So we're able to keep up with all the stuff that's going on in that space in terms of the technology building and all that. So we stay on top of that before even news articles come out or people start recording YouTube videos around it. So we try to do that justice to ourselves because we've invested quite a bit in these spaces. So we want to make sure our investment's worthwhile and we keep everyone informed that, hey, look, this is what we see or what our sentiment is of our positions pretty much. Yeah, so we'll do that, Leon. I think that's pretty fair, right? And we can pin these articles in that channel for people to kind of go back and look at.
Yeah.
And if there's something specific you're looking for, let us know. And I would leave with one resource that is not in our and we'll post it there, is the coin market cap, right? You go to coin market cap, it will tell you all the coins out there from the highest market cap to the lowest market cap. And if you're looking beyond like the first 15 top 15 coins, that means you're dealing with something that you don't have much insights on or people don't have insights on, right? There you go. I think Leon's sharing this
Guys,
right now. Yeah.
here, this is the volume on
Yeah.
coin market cap.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, now Tether is a stable coin, and that's used to buy Bitcoin and other assets. So you have 100 billion in volume here. You have Bitcoin, which is also traded as an asset that used to trade between other coins, 56 billion. You have Ethereum and its smart contract, 28 billion. And XRP 22 billion, but a lot of that could just be between it themselves, right? Faking that data. Because I looked at tried to find some stuff, and they're like really like 70 transactions a day at one point. I'm like, okay, why is these 70 transactions sending $22 billion worth of XRP
They're
around?
using it for money transfer, Leon. They're using it for
Yeah,
money
yeah.
transfer.
So yeah,
So,
big transfers
so it's
went on.
creating volume, right? Now, is that
Yeah,
volume reasonable to track? That's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
If everyone's like, hey, people are using it for money transfer, should we count it as regular volume or should it be a special volume, right? Kind of thing.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. The point here is there's a huge drop off, guys, and you go and even in the top 10, like $2 million is nothing, literally nothing in volume. And like here you have 600 million in Binance Coin. Really, anything out that's not a billion you probably should ignore it. But yeah.
This is coinmarketcap.com, right?
Yeah, coinmarketcap.com. There's a lot of information you can get on here. You can click on here. You can find all the market pairs, which is for Bitcoin, that's going to be a lot. Yeah, I mean, you have all these international exchanges, and there's a lot of arbitrage opportunities here. On-chain analysis, I actually haven't seen this tab.
Yeah.
Holders making money at current price, 85%. Concentration by large holders. Interesting. Oh, this is actually pretty new here. 9% by large holders. Holders composition by time. 64% have held this over a year. That's interesting. Transactions greater than 100,000, 57 billion. Then transaction demographics, East and West. I guess Asia, not Asia. Interesting. Deeper dive.
Yeah, this coin market cap is just amazing. We'll just post the link out there. You can kind of click around. It has the definition of the coin. It has everything. You can kind of see the net impact there. And then obviously you're welcome to ask us questions in that channel and say, hey, look, I read about this. Can we get some clarification about it? And then we'll be honest with you and just tell you either we don't know or we know, or we'll redirect you to the right contact to get you that information. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. Any other questions?
Looks like somebody asked. I took quite a bit of profit on XLM. I did as well in 2017. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that coin? It's you know what? XLM is a cousin of XRP. So it's like the prettier cousin. It's like the friendlier cousin. and you can make money on XLM just like you can make on XRP. But again, I just prefer. It's more decentralized than XRP, but again, like hardly anyone's building on it, hardly anyone's using it, and you can get better returns with Ethereum and Bitcoin. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you can get above $1. I think it could in this next all-time high.
Yeah, and here's why I would say a positive twist to XRP actually is if you feel like buying Western Union stocks or MoneyGram stocks or something in the stock market, I'll tell you XRP is way better than that. Okay, so you're better off buying XRP than investing in these money transmitting stocks out there and investing in those option contracts there, because XRP will definitely beat them in every shape or form. So yeah, that's a positive twist I can give to that. If you are a big fan of centralized coins pegged to the US dollar.
By the way, every stock, real estate is going to be tokenized in the future too. So that's another thing to think about.
Yep.
I guess we can end it here, Mitt, and then get into fucking taxes or something.
Yeah. So next steps, we're actually going to have a recording. We're not doing a Q&A on this one, but we're going to record a tax implication on Bitcoin and all the crypto coins along with investments for profit makers. So stay tuned with us at ProfitMakers.trade. We are going to keep you posted with those videos, and you're welcome to ask questions there for that.
I appreciate for doing that, the tax thing, because that's one of the things was holding me out for Bitcoins. I was not sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah,
what
Mitt has taken care of my crypto taxes every year.
So yeah, I'm a very inquisitive guy. So some of y'all already know me. I like strategizing with taxes, and I keep up with any new regulations that have come up on the crypto space in terms of the IRS, what they're putting out there. So that being said, whatever is current, I pretty much help crypto investors get their taxes done right. And Leon was one of my first clients in that space. And let's put it that way. I learned from experiencing how to report his tax situation, because it was very new. It's funny where the whole tax community is like, who's an expert in this? I was like, there is nobody that's an expert. It just came out at that time. So there is no such thing as expert at that time, and nobody's ever going to become experts. It's what you know and what you experience and what you actually, the number of transactions you do. So I've been fortunate to oversee a lot of crypto taxes in my past 5-6 years. So it's been really interesting there. So we'll record that. And actually Leon has offered to kind of open his books, and we use examples to share that crypto tax concepts. So we'll record that, we'll post it, and you're welcome to ask questions and answers on that in another video session. Until then, just go ahead and follow us on, pretty much on ProfitMakers.trade. We have all our channels, and we're going to go ahead and keep posting cool videos like these so that you get educated, and as we democratize this knowledge with the wider audience. Sound good?
But by the way, folks, we're going to be launching a podcast probably first of next year.
Yeah.
So Profit Makers podcast as well.
Yes. Podcast. So people can see our pretty faces, but they can hear us, right? But cool, everyone. Thanks for joining this on a Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy time with your families. And have a good one.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Take care, everyone.
Oh, yeah. All right, man. I guess I'm gonna get some lunch and I'll hit you up after that.
Okay.